everybody talks about across where the Potomac enters can be really challenging. We're also going to have forecasted to have 25 knot winds around that area.
So we're dead downwind.
We'll turn it so you're a little bit off. I'm going to go try to see if I can drop the main.
The problem is the waves are hitting us on the beam. I can't do this. Hold on. No, Todd. I know.
It's dark 30. You can kind of see a little bit of light coming up over there behind me. About ready to get the bridle off the anchor chain.
We've got our spreader lights on so Todd can see to clean the chain. It's gonna be a long day, guys. I don't know what it's gonna be like. Everybody talks about coming across where the Potomac enters can be really challenging. We're also gonna have forecasted to have 25 knot winds around that area. But tomorrow we start seeing the first rain from Tropical Depression Debbie as it comes across us, but it's still forecasting like 40 plus knots of wind for like 6 hours. It's that length of time that's the problem. Like, you know, we went through the storm last week where we saw 40 knots of wind for a blip.
24 right now, 25, 26, 28.
Are we still in our circle?
37. Woo! 39.4.
It's 40 knots of wind for hours. That has me a little freaked out.
Sunrise is starting to come up. Nova Star is around the corner up there. They should be pulling their anchor up by now too. And heading back here to navigate out of the channel. Birds are awake. Look how close that is to shore. All right, the hardest part's over, babe.
So when we get out here, I'll take the wheel and you can put the sails up.
Not enough. 4.8. That'd be beautiful.
We got our wind back.
Yes. We're doing like 17 or 18 knots of wind now.
And we were down to 3 knots of wind earlier, so at least it's filled back in. So we're gonna have to do a jibe here in 15-20 minutes or so, probably. Our buddy boat Nova Star back there. All right, so we've been gone now for 2.5 hours or so. And we've got about 14 knots of wind now, which is nice. 120 degree wind angle, so it's coming from behind us. At some point we're gonna have to jibe again, and it may actually be dead downwind, which means we'll have to probably jibe a time or two. The winds are supposed to build for this afternoon up to 20-24 knots. We're making pretty decent time. We're doing about 5.5 to 5 knots right now. We've added the motor in just a little bit to give us just that little extra half a knot of speed.
Pretty rough out here. The waves are on our beam and we're coming up to crossing the Potomac, and it just gets to be kind of rough and a little like a washing machine. This would be a really cool sail if we were actually going the right way, but we're actually supposed to be going up there. You can see our buddy boat out on the horizon. But the wind is dead downwind, so we are jibing back and forth. So for right now, we're going this direction. It's a beautiful day. Todd's taking a nap. And Hurricane Debbie is working its way up here from that direction. Todd's downstairs. He called up and he was like, "You should take video of how rough it is." it's just really hard to capture that on the video. It's rough enough that walking inside the boat is difficult to do, and using the bathroom is challenging when the boat is like doing like this. That's why they make those spaces small, even though they look like super cramped. Like you can brace yourself on the walls and the cupboards and the door. Otherwise you'd just be flying around.
Pelican. You okay, puppy? Huh? You okay?
When we passed the Potomac River and headed towards Solomon, the wind, as forecast, started to build. But because it was behind us and we were enjoying the sail, we ended up caught with all our sails up in 26 knots of sustained winds. The waves were 6 to 8 feet tall, and we needed to reef before we turned and headed up towards Solomon's Island. There's a reason that they say reef early. Reefing in these conditions isn't easy. We had turned so that the wind was at 120 degrees to try to relieve some of the pressure, but the sail ended up pinned against the spreaders, making this a very difficult job. We could not turn into the wind easily as the waves were big and fast.
We might need to stop everything and jibe.
Jibing is how we turn the boat when the wind is from behind us. We needed to turn to miss a shallow area before turning back to get out of the Chesapeake Bay. This meant that the waves which had been behind us would now be hitting us on the side of the boat. This would make for a crazy and sometimes dangerous ride.
Turning all the way around. If we're doing this, back on course now? Okay. Good. Good, good. I'll try to see if I can drop the name
The
now.
problem is the waves are hitting us on the beam. Tie yourself on, because they're coming.
The waves were 6 to 8 feet tall and rocking the boat dramatically from side to side. Todd and I are wearing life vests, and we both use tethers to prevent ourselves from falling overboard if we leave the cockpit.
The guy will get past us.
Speed. Well, it is. Alright. Roll this up a little bit more.
Despite putting a double reef in our mainsail and making our head sail smaller, we are still going quite fast.
A little bit. Not a lot.
We try reefing the head sail more, but ultimately we decide to drop the mainsail altogether and sail with a reefed head sail and our mizzen sail, something that is called jib and jigger. It works really well for our boat in higher winds. We are out of the crazy craziness that became the Chesapeake Bay. We had a great sail for hours behind. It was behind us going that fast, and the waves were with us, and we were screaming. We were doing like 7.5, 8 knots. And we were like, woohoo!
Right?
Until we needed to turn onto the beam, and suddenly we're going to have almost 30 knots of wind on our beam with all of our sails up.
Problem was turning with those waves hitting your beam, because they really rock the boat hard.
All right, we're turning up this little river to our hidey hole. This looks like it is going to be way nice and calm. I'm getting away from this river by several bends in this other little one. It's awesome. I feel so good about this choice. This is our new favorite hidey hole if we need it, right? On the Chesapeake.
It's definitely a hidey hole.
It's kind of way up here. We have 2 days before the wind actually gets here. So we'll keep watching it. And if it continues to be as predicted, this will be a lee shore. So we will move over there so that we are not on a lee shore.
That's the plan, and I'm sticking to it.
Right? Are you just exhausted like me?
Beat. I'm just beat. As soon as I eat food, I'm going to bed.
Denali hasn't done anything, but she was a little stressed today. It was rough.
It got rough at the end.
Yeah. Well, we're starting to get the rain and the clouds and the cool weather from what's left of Hurricane Debbie.
Are you still calling it a hurricane right now, or is it?
I don't know. It's like Tropical Depression Debbie, but it's what's left of the hurricane.
In all our discussions about storms and contingency plans, we are offered an extra anchor and chain by our friend Robert, a solo sailor.
Man, if it's low tide right now, that would be underwater. High tide, wouldn't it?
Well, with the storm, we've probably got extra water in here.
He agrees to meet us at a nearby marina.
You got it?
This will be a great backup or secondary anchor in an emergency. Thanks, Robert.
Alright, so can you cleat it off or something? Somewhere?
To this?
Yeah, or tie a line around the windlass, whatever you want to do, just cleat off so, and I'll hear it better in a minute.
Okay.
You grab this. I will hand it. Watch out.
All right, well, we're in the thick of what's supposed to be going on, and I think we picked a really good spot. Looking at the NOAA buoys out in the Chesapeake Bay, it is sustained 30 knots winds, gusting above 35. But in here, we have like 15, and that was just a gust. So our highest gusts all night long has only been like 25. So I'm really grateful that we came in here, because hours and hours of sustained 30 gusting to 35. It actually, the buoy shows that it was gusting above 40 for a while last night. So yay! I'm glad that we came up here. This has been, it's St. Leonard's Creek. Very protected if you need a place on the Chesapeake to get away from a big storm. This is the place to be.